the shadows of the mind where secrets hide. We dive into the dark where truth collides. Forensic minds unravel the twisted thread. True crime tales from the living and the dead.
All right, everybody, we're not going to sit here and listen to
Why
this
did they do it?
sleepy song. It's a good song. I like it, but I'm pressed for time, so we're gonna avoid that. Okay. Let's see. And I want to fix that. Good deal. All right. How's everybody doing? You know what? I have been missing in action. MIA, criminal sociology. So good to see you. Thank you. Anarchy, good to see you. Thank you for being here. Carolina Hurtado, welcome, my friend. You know what? I wish that I could say that I had like this amazing, wonderful topic all picked out and ready to go for today. The truth is, I don't. The truth is that work has been a lot, and I've been incredibly busy, working a lot of hours. So that is why you haven't seen me here. Some of you may have seen me like at night talking in other people's side chat. But for the most part, I'm in a period of time right now where I don't have a lot of extra free time. So very busy. I starting on the 13th, I'm going to have a week where I'll be going live at night, or a couple of times during that week. I'll go live at night. But really and truly, until I'm going to say November, I just don't have a lot of free time. So this is a quick check-in to tell everybody I miss you guys and I'm thinking about you. I have not abandoned my channel, though it may look like I have abandoned my channel. I promise you, I did not abandon it. I'm still here. Just, lots of work. Work is always a bitch. I've secured a couple of new contracts. Anarchy, you just named my nightmare. That is a big part of what is happening right now. I've got two new big contracts that are it's a lot of new systems that need to be put in place. So a lot of extra work, and I'm very excited because the new contracts in over time will be fabulous and awesome, and I'm incredibly blessed and very excited. But I've got to make a donation in extended time, getting everything in order and getting everything up and running. The goal is for everything to be up and running by January. So that's what I'm looking at, January 2027. And the payoffs will be wonderful, wonderful, wonderful. Less time weekly, but a little bump up in income. And so it's going to be good all the way around. And yes, it is going to require a burst of end of the half a year, I guess, really, end of the year work to get everything where it needs to be. And then we're off to the races. So I'm very excited about that. So that's my real life. I've been keeping up with a little bit of everything that's been going on, watching Andy Kopsa, of course, and Docket Decoder and Dreadful Penny. Cresha, being kind of keeping up with everything going on with Christina. Hey, Christina Mack. And of course, I love Jolene Lunzer, but not really able to watch all of her stuff. But I think it's very interesting. Um, I think Lauren Matthias is an interesting person. She is quite she acts with incredible hubris, right? Uh, I think what she did with okay, it goes beyond me saying thank you, Doris. Thank you so much for saying that. I appreciate that. My mom and dad, my dad primarily, that was always the big pat on the back and way to go. My son does it too a lot. So yeah, so I missed that. So thank you for saying that, Doris. I really appreciate that. Make me a little teary, bleary-eyed. But my dad would be thrilled if he were still here and heard about my two big contracts and what I'm going to be doing. And so it's very exciting. Okay, so Lauren, of course, what she did to Cresha's family, to Cresha and her family, in my book, unforgivable. The woman is unforgivable. Uh, Same thing with Trisha Griffin, who has a court date coming up, by the way. You guys don't forget that. I believe is it the 13th, or is it the 12th or the 3rd? Must be the 12th. So Trisha Griffith has a date with Destiny, which in other words is the Texas court, a Texas judge. She has a date on the 12th. So this is in relation to her trying to steal a woman's inheritance. A lady who worked her butt off, took care of her financials, lived a responsible, sober life. And then she didn't have anyone left in her family to leave her fortune to. And so Trisha just thought, after living a life of great irresponsibility, anything but sober decisions, basically living a life of graft and corruption, in my opinion, just decided she would say, it's mine, it's all mine. Beth B followed the rules, but I'm going to swoop in like the scavenger that I am, and I'm going to take her life's work product, and I'm just going to steal it, even though I myself have done nothing in my real life. I know, Trisha. I know. Web sleuths, web sleuths, web sleuths. It's so great. It's so wonderful. Okay, well, if it's so great and so wonderful, why is it that everyone and their dog had to pay your electricity bill and your food bill and the server bills and any other kind of bills that are named in the court filings? Stop. You know damn well you wouldn't even know how to invest anything. You've never saved anything. You've lied your way through. You've misled people and tricked people, and you're still doing it. And I can find some, I don't want to say forgiveness. It's not forgiveness, not my place to forgive. I guess I can find a little bit of understanding. If you weren't raised by a person or people who took time to teach you how to be a responsible adult, someone who took time to give you experiences that you developed a sense of pride and goodwill toward the world, that you recognize that we all in adulthood, we all need to try, make an attempt to be good stewards of the world that we have influence over, right? If you weren't raised in that way, then how would you know to do it? I suppose if you married someone who did have those early experiences or educational activities that taught you stewardship and taught you to be wise and save more than you spend and all of those things that, you know, we tried to teach our own kids, right? If that's just not been your path, if the path that the path that you've always traveled included cocaine, alcohol, living hand to mouth, if there's not ever been, you know, asking people to take care of you, like, please let me live in your house, if that's been the norm for you and you've really not ever had anybody in your life to really teach those things to you, I can definitely have understanding how this could unfold. I also could show some grace for that. But here's the conditions for me personally that I would be comfortable showing grace, and it would be this. If once a person does learn that what they're doing is hurting other people, you can claim ignorance in the beginning, right? But then at some point you run across experiences or people and you learn that there's a different way, then I think you lose that opportunity for grace. I think at that point now you're just taking advantage, right? And I think that is true with Trisha. So in some ways, you know, it doesn't really spark I guess anger in me as much as I just sort of feel sorry for her. I just feel bad for her. I feel worse for people like Beth B and you know, people that got taken advantage of. I feel really bad for those people. But yeah, I feel a bit sorry for Trisha. But Lauren Matthias, John Matthias, none of the above. It is, I lack understanding for a person like Lauren. The only thing that I can see, the law says not steal, not only our raising, so there's no excuse to break the law. I mean, we do have legal guidance, right, Rita? That's why we have laws, because they provide guidance. The laws are a rule book that tell us you can do this, but you can't do that, right? True, 100%. So with Lauren, first I had shock. First I was in shock, and I thought, I legitimately believed, I even think I said it to my husband, what in the world would John Matthias say or think when he learned that Lauren was doing these things? I believed, my guess was that John did not know what Lauren was up to, and that when the stories began coming out with Crescia and Colby and others, that I believed that John Matthias would find out what Lauren was doing and would be horrified. I believed that. And that is not what happened. In fact, John Matthias said, hold my beer. John Matthias found out what Lauren was doing and found out what Grayson was doing and said, "Hey, girls, hold my beer. Watch this." And it was so much worse than what they did. And the reason that I say his antics have been so much worse than Lauren is because that man knows better. That's honest God truth. He know, or given his training and his education, his parents, he should have known better. But he didn't have an excuse. Trisha, maybe there's an excuse there. Well, I think Lauren is probably a product of her raising too, right? Like we know stories about Lauren's dad and even her brother, the way he conducts business. So even with Lauren, in a bit of a way, you can sort of say, you know, if you grow up with someone who teaches you how to shoplift, don't you become a shoplifter 9 times out of 10? Probably. But John Matthias, what's going on there? That man, from the moment that it became clear to us that she was not operating in a vacuum, she was not operating behind the scenes, she was not hiding things from the great and powerful John. He's been in it with her. He's been a part of it. How do we know? The police body cam. When they went after Christina Mack, we heard this licensed psychologist try to influence a law enforcement officer. Not only did he try to incite the law enforcement officer into breaking the law, which is illegal all by itself, he started throwing around his license, didn't he? He started throwing around his, well, I'm a licensed psychologist. Oh my gracious, John. Have you ever read your ethics manual? Like when you were getting ready to try and finish up your PhD, did you not have to take comprehensive finals? Was ethics not a complete section on your comprehensive finals all by itself? Of course it was, because that's a requirement in APA accredited programs, right? What happened to you, buddy? Like, really, do you think that all the other psychologists out in the world, including Europe, including psychologists in Canada, Brazil, licensed psychologists, we have a standard ethics code. It's not an exact match, it's not exact duplicate. But those people that are in Europe practicing, they're following the same guidelines and rules that I follow every day and that you're supposed to follow. So what happened? Those rules are for everybody else with a psychology license to practice, just not for the great and powerful John. Is that right? Like, what happened, John? Is it easy? No. Is it easy to follow your ethics code to the T, to the letter of the law? Is it easy to follow your state licensing laws? Well, if you know them and you value your license and you take seriously the services that you provide to the public, then it's easy to follow them because they're very clearly explained. The amount of training that you are required to go through in an APA accredited program related specifically to ethics, and that would be ethics in research, ethics in publishing, ethics in treatment, clinical work, ethics in forensics, spelled out. It's clear. And if you run across something that you feel like your particular situation is, maybe you're in a little bit of a nuanced problem, you're not quite sure about, it's a little rough around the edges, guess what? We can pick up the phone and we can call our state licensing board. And we can say, hi, I'm a licensed psychologist in your state. Do you think I could talk to one of the attorneys, please? Yeah. They'll actually let you talk to one of the board's attorneys, and they have more than one of them. They have a lot of them. And then you say, here's the problem I'm facing. This is what's going on. Here's the facts. Here's what I'm concerned about. Can I do this? If I do it, what are the safeguards I need to take? What kind of documentation does this require? And you get full guidance by the board itself. Or if you don't want to do that, you should, John, as a licensed, like a what? A what? A licensed psychologist. I think all licensed psychologists, or at least those that are taking their profession seriously, every licensed psychologist I know has liability attorneys on, like, these are people that you work with all the time. You have them, like, we put them on retainer, and then they're there to answer questions if we need them. So I have a practice that is all attorneys that do medical liability. So I pay a retainer that I'm counted as one of their caseload. And if I have a question, I just call them. Can I do this? Am I breaking anything, any state laws or ethics codes? Am I meeting the higher of the two standards? I don't want to squeak by. I don't ever find myself in a situation that I'm standing in front of my licensing board with my hat in my hand saying, please, sir, please forgive me. I'll never do it again. I ain't going that route. I don't ever want to be humiliated from my professional position. I want to be certain that I am well within the parameters of my ethics code, and as well as my state law. There are more situations, I think, and I think this might be where John Matthias has gone wrong. There are more parameters where maybe I'm breaking my ethics code, but I'm not breaking the law, right? And this is a special circumstance that is talked about when you're going through your PhD program, when you're getting experiences for licensing. Once you're licensed and you have to do continuing education, they bring this up. What happens if, in terms of your ethics code, you're violating one of your principles, but in terms of state law, you're not really doing anything wrong? Well, guess what? According to your licensing, you should err on the side of caution. You should hold yourself to the higher standard, whether it's the ethics code is more restrictive, or the state law is more restrictive, or if you're licensed in more than one state, maybe one state the law will be more restrictive than in another state. You have to, or if you're smart, then you tailor your behavior for the more restrictive. So you make sure that you are nowhere near the jagged line. You make sure that you are center of the road, baby. And if somebody comes questioning me, I'm going to start bringing out receipts going, here's this, I'm in compliance, even my ethics code. I am erring on the side of caution every decision that is made. Some people don't do that. Some people don't. Some people look what happened with the Richard Allen case and John Matthias was incredible. And I think the things that were said, there's been a lot of cases, I think, where John has definitely taken liberties. And it wasn't even a gray area. He flat out busted right through what would be state law or even the ethics code. The police body cam, I don't know if is Christina Mack in here? Oh, yes, Maury. And most people don't know. A lot of people really push like, well, you're not a medical doctor. You're not a medical doctor. No, I'm not a physician. That is true. It is also true that some psychologists do have prescription privileges where they do write prescriptions. I don't know why that's a standard, but some people want to argue back on that. But actually, it is the state medical board that is in charge of the laws that govern licensed psychologists. So yeah, they take this seriously. This isn't a pretend profession. It's not a pretend degree. You know, if you are working as an independent provider, you must meet certain standards. You must. And you know, the police body cam, one reason that I keep referring back to those recordings, because they're so bad. To contact a police officer and start saying, well, I am a licensed psychologist and I am a forensic psychologist and I do evaluations for the court. And I've even worked in some of your department's investigations for CSAM. Yeah, that's right. The division for you know, online crimes. I did that work. So you want to know why he said that? Let me tell you why he said that. He said that for credibility, right? He said that to the police officer because he wanted the police officer to have this subjective experience that John was his superior, that John knew more than him, or that John had more wisdom than he did. None of that was true. Under no circumstances, listen, John, you know this, but maybe people in your channel don't know this. Even if you had been involved in investigations with that man's department, with his colleagues, even if that were true, you still wouldn't be his superior. You still would not be the guy making the call on who gets charged with a crime and who does not. That is not the way forensic psychologists work. You don't get to go to the police and say, yeah, my neighbor is, you know, they stole some things from my garage and they're, you know, they should be charged. They're criminally insane. And I really think when they stole the stuff, they probably were planning my demise. So let's just go ahead and charge them with attempted murder. After all, I'm a doctor of psychology. And who are you? Like I do forensic evaluations and you're just a street cop. You're just wearing a uniform and going out writing traffic tape. I know though. So go ahead and take my guidance and go ahead and charge them with attempted murder because they broke into my garage. You think you really no, you don't believe that, John. You would have to be a moron to believe that, wouldn't you? So that is in fact what he did with in those police body cam recordings. He did throw around his license. He did say, I'm a big shot. And Lauren does it all the time, but Lauren's nobody, right? I mean, Lauren is no different than me or you. If you guys wanted to start a YouTube channel and start going around to trials and talking about what happened with the evidence that was submitted, or interview people, family members, God forbid, if you wanted to do that, you could do that. Lauren has no special training to do this. She just says, I'm a journalist. That's me, I'm a journalist. She's a legend in her own mind, basically, right? So I can say I'm a journalist. I can say, oh, look, I'm a citizen journalist. So Christina Mack and others, the police body cam, that's what you want. Okay. All right. Now then, he was pulling rank on the police officer. You bet. 100%, Maury. It was designed to pull rank. But our ethics code, our licensing body expressly tells us you can't do that. You can't go around using this license. I'm talking about the license to practice psychology independently. You can't go around shoving that in people's face saying, I'm better than you, I know more than you, I'm smarter than you, I have a special position that you don't have, therefore you'll do this my way. Do you know that even law enforcement can't do that, John? Law enforcement cannot do that. If you are a city police officer, you don't get to go out into the county and start making arrests. If you are a sheriff's deputy working the county, you don't get to go in town and tell those police officers what to do. There is jurisdiction. Same thing with the FBI. The FBI doesn't get to come to town and tell the local sheriff or chief of police what they're going to do with a given crime. They don't do that. And if you are a professional licensed provider, psychology or other, then you know your jurisdiction and you don't even tap a big toe 1 inch over that line. You don't do it. I can come to this channel all day long and talk about my opinions on Bryan Kohberger, why he did the things that he did, how the investigation was handled. Hell, I can even give my opinion on Dylan Mortensen. Why didn't you call the police, Dylan? I can do that. I'm allowed to have an opinion. You want to know what I cannot do? I can't come here and say, I'm a licensed psychologist and I do forensic evaluations. And let me tell you why Dylan Mortensen did not call the police. See, I can't do that. You want to know what the license is for? It's not a badge that says, nanny nanny boo boo, I know more than you do, or I'm smarter than you, or I have more power, or any of that nonsense. The license says one thing: I have been judged and followed up on making certain that I have the education, the training experiences, and the mental stability, the moral character to provide services to the public and not endanger them. That's what that license means. It doesn't mean anything in terms of whether somebody is better or more informed. That's not what it is. You want to know what that is? It's a license to have a certain type of job. That's it. It's just a job. And there are a lot of psychologists that choose not to ever get licensed, and they work under somebody else's license. Like I could hire a psychologist who did not get licensed. I could hire them to work for me, pay them a salary, but then I have to read any testing they do, any reports they write, therapy that they're providing to others. I have certain minimum standards. I have to read those reports. My name has to be on them. If it's not my name, it's my license. It's my training, background, and history that is saying this report is accurate. It's up to the standards of the profession and nobody's been endangered. So when you have someone like Lauren Matthias or John who start using that license like it's a red carpet, you roll out the red carpet and say, dun da da da, I'm here and I'm gracing you with my magnificence. That is what the licensing board doesn't want to see. It's expressly, there's an actual direction. You don't pull your license out and say, look at me, look how great I am. That's not what it's for. It's to work. And I don't know that he's done a lot of work in, you know what I mean? So, all right. So the police body cam, there's some really valuable information at the intersect with the licensing requirements and ethics. I've personally thrown Sharon Davies out of a local store where I was working, and she tried pulling it's so embarrassing. We've seen it. We've seen like the videos where somebody says, do you know who I am? They get stopped for DWI, right? And what did they say? I'm the district attorney. Excuse me, do you know who I am? I'm the district attorney. Or this one, I love this one. He's a judge? He's passed out in his Tahoe on the side of the interstate, so drunk that he reeks of bourbon. It's one of our judges. Those videos are all over YouTube. They're all over YouTube. People, oh, I'm an attorney, or I'm the district attorney, or I'm Mary Lou Retton. That was a fun one. Who saw Mary Lou Retton drunk on the side of the road? Yeah, she tried to pull rank with the I'm Mary Lou Retton. Sorry, doesn't help you, sweetheart. You're driving drunk. You're going to jail. That kind of nonsense. There's no place for that kind of I'm better than you nonsense in the daily discourse. If you break the law, you break the law. If you screw up, you screw up. And your license as a psychologist doesn't do anything. You actually, with that license as a provider of any sort, your standards are actually higher than what is simply acceptable. That's what it means, John, that you should be better. That's what that means. You should do better. And you haven't, and your wife hasn't. You just thumb your nose at the people that you're hurting. And it just has gone on and on and on and on for years. Victims, family members. You show no recognition. It is very disturbing, the hubris with which the two of you behave. And you know what, Lauren, the quid pro quo, you basically said to Christina, you said, I'm more famous than you through my YouTube channel. I have a lot more money than you do through my YouTube channel. And here's what it's going to take to get my attorneys off your back. You are going to allow me to absolutely destroy you, destroy your business, your art, your online platforms. You're going to stand back and you're going to allow me, the richer, more famous journalist, married to who, guys? The licensed psychologist. You're going to let us destroy you, and that is the only way that I will call off my attorneys. So it's going to hurt. I'm going to make damn sure that you pay with a pound of your flesh. You know what, Lauren? That makes you a disgusting human being. For example, Lauren, why would Christina need to destroy her channel that was related to her company that highlights her work product, which is art? It doesn't have anything to do with true crime. How could you make that demand? Oh, because you're a cold, heartless bitch? Maybe. I don't know. All right. I got to go. I got a meeting I got to make. You guys are awesome. Thank you for letting me say hello. And I'm going to try to keep poking my head in. I haven't forgotten you. In about a week, I'm going to have a couple of afternoons or evenings where I'll be able to go live. Okay. Thank y'all for being here.